Boxing promoter Ed Hearn has another heavyweight in the wings. The gentleman in question has an interesting name. We're talking about Teremoana Teremoana Jr. This fighter from Australia is a former Olympian, and now he's tearing through the heavyweight division. And Hearn feels that this particular fighter will be able to challenge the likes of Moses Atuma within 18 months or so, when one of them should have their hands wrapped around a world title. Interesting, because the heavyweight division is ripe for someone new. And with the likes of Atuma and Double T, I'll call him, these are two men who could definitely look ahead and see off in the distance their success. Let's talk about Teremoana Teremoana Jr. The heavyweights. Ed Hearn thinks that he may have someone that is ready to enter the division. And he may be right, because this is a towering man who's had Olympic experience, and he is ready to make an impact on the division. We're talking about Teremoana Teremoana Jr. This man out of Australia is big. He's strong. He can box a little bit. And there is something that I noticed about him in his last fight, which it really made me take note. Back in June of this year, 2025, he took on Aleem Whitfield. Teremoana came in at 265 pounds. However, that 265.5 on him on that June night looked a lot more chiseled. Previously, he looked a little pudgy, but I can see that he is moving into a stage of his career where he's taking things a lot more serious. And I expect some step-up fights for him, and I expect him to be successful because he's a powerful man. And it's interesting because there's another gentleman out of Australia that's coming along, and he's a world champion. We're talking about Jai Opataya, who may be coming from cruiserweight up to heavyweight. And if that's the case, there'll be two men out of Australia competing in the heavyweight division. We last remember the likes of David Tua, who was really successful and carving out a nice path for his career. But men are bigger today. And this Double T is someone to take note of. Now, in a boxing scene, Boxing News 24 article, it says that Hearn thinks a fight between his fighter, Teremoana, and Moses Atuma is possible within the next 18 months. He says that by then, one of them will be holding a world title, and it'll be a bigger fight. The 2024 Olympian Teremoana, who is now boasting a record of 8-0 with 8 KOs, is ready for the next step and has knocked out all 8 of his opponents, but he hasn't received the hype that Atuma has. And there's a reason for that, because Hearn hasn't really invested in showcasing Double T, but I think it's time for him to do it. And Hearn would be better off if he were to bring this young charge into a situation of where he can get a real quality coach professionally in his camp. I believe that the investment of a quality coach, and I'm not saying that whom's working with him right now isn't good enough, but it's time for Hearn and Matchroom to invest a little bit instead of rolling dice. You see, because when you invest, you can cultivate, you can nurture, you can develop. And this is a fighter, though he's 27 years of age. In the heavyweight division, we've seen in modern times, the heavyweights have gone later in their ages and developed later in their careers. And that's pretty good because they learn to settle in to their size, their strength, and the experiences that they have. You see, because you don't need to be in a lot of wars, but what you need to do is hone your skills. And because he has Olympian experience, that makes all the difference in the world. See, he could get in there and do some things that would be beneficial with the help of a good lead trainer. Now, his view on Atuma, he says, I think there's a chances of it happening, are most definite. I think it's just given time. He says, when a fight between he and Atuma will happen. He says, I reckon the next 2 or 3 years, I might be getting that fight. That's just coming from me, obviously. He says, what exciting times are coming for Moses. We've got this talent coming into the heavyweight division at this time. I feel like the older generation is fading away and the new generation is coming up. We're coming into this time and they're going to prove who's the best. That's a quote from Teremoana. Now, Hearn's fight plan, according to the article, says he believes he'll beat Moses Atuma, and he's our guy, said Eddie Hearn about Teremoana. It's not that we're targeting Moses Atuma. We're targeting a World Heavyweight Championship. Teremoana is going to fight him, and that's going to be a tremendous fight. We're talking 18 months, and that can be one of the great fights in the heavyweight division. You know, when guys fight sooner rather than later, it's always a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't always happen that way, because a lot of the investments for promoters, when they get greedy, they want to preserve guys, they want to put them on ice, they want to stall things out. With Teremoana's personality, which is very engaging, he dances in the ring, similar to like what Tyson Fury used to do as a younger man. And he does his famous Samoan yell and dance, the routine of their tribal ritual. He does that. And it's kind of appealing. But to be able to fight and knock people out, putting butts in the seats, that's what people really want to see. And I believe Teremoana can bring that. The one thing about Moses Atuma is he can be a little bit boring. And there's something about that little afro that he wears and everything, being of that Czech mixed blood. I don't know if that can sell as much as Queensberry is attempting to do. But when someone has real charisma, like this Teremoana guy, again, all Matchroom has to do is put that man in there with some great quality trainers, and trainers who have trained and worked with big men. Let that be an important factor, because as 6'6" and 260 plus pounds, as solid as he is, as strong as he is, because I've watched him fight and hit people, and he definitely, this is not like somebody just falling down. He has strength and power, and he believes in himself, and he has a country behind him. That means something in today's times in boxing. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about Teremoana Teremoana. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.